Clark here with Killer Fun, back with another daily Killer Sudoku solve video. This is puzzle number 128 at dailykillersudoku.com. This is one that was recommended by Scott on the Facebook group for Daily Killer Sudoku. He has an eye for fun and interesting puzzles, and this is one of them. Let's look at the puzzle and see what we can learn before we start the solve. This is a difficulty 10 standard Killer Sudoku puzzle with an average solve time of 37 minutes. The board is symmetric about the center, and there are helpful logics that apply across the board. The puzzle statistics show attempts at just under 3,000, which is low for a puzzle that has been on the site since 2009. Puzzles released these days regularly get 3,000 attempts in a day. And this is an extremely fun standard Killer Sudoku. The no-hint solves are almost 1,200, with an abandonment ratio of 61%. My rerank algorithm calculates an 8 difficulty, and the grader from the Killer Solver at SudokuWiki gives it a tough grade and a rating of 9.2. The three large shapes have a huge impact on the solve path. 2 7-cell cages in the right and left stacks, and a 9-cell 45 cage across all 3 boxes of the middle band. If you would like to follow along or give it a try first, there is a link to this engaging puzzle in the description notes below and a link in the upper right-hand corner that will take you to the puzzle. Let's get started with Daily Killer Sudoku Puzzle 128. And I think we'll start down here in box 7. We have a 1 box, 1 innie, rule of 45 opportunity, where the sum of all of the cages that are wholly within box 7 sum to 39. And 45 minus 39 is 6. So row 8, column 3 is a 6, and its 2-cell 10-cage partner is a 4. And because of the symmetry of this particular puzzle, we find the exact same possibility up here in box 3. A 1 box, 1 innie, rule of 45 opportunity, where the sum of all the cages that are in box 3 sum to 36. 45 minus 36 is 9. And the 2-cell 13-cage 9 partner is a 4. Let's move down here to box 8. We select both of the cages that exist completely within box 8, as well as this known value of 4. The sum of those highlighted cells is 37, which 45 minus 37 leaves 8, which needs to be split between these 2 cells. So this 16 cage here has something to say about the possibilities. There's only one possible combination for a 2-cell 16 cage, which is 7, 9. This cell, of course, cannot be the 9 because it must be a participant in an 8 sum. So the only possible value here is the 7, which makes this a 1. If we look back to this 16 cage with a 7, the 2-cell 16 cage partner of a 7 is a 9. So let's look at this 3-cell 16 cage. One of the values is a 1. The remaining sum is a 15 sum. Let's plug that into the calculator. A 2-cell 15 sum has 2 possible combinations, a 6, 9 and a 7, 8. This 9 in column 7 has something to say about the possible combinations, eliminating the 6, 9 and leaving only the 7, 8 as a possible combination. So those 2 cells in the last 2 rows of column 7 are 7, 8 pair. We look up to the next 2 possible cells. They are in a 2-cell 3 cage, only one possible combination of 1, 2. All right, so if we take a look at boxes 6 and 9, we select all of the cages which exist completely within boxes 6 and 9, except for this 1 here. We get a sum of 71. So let's use this one that we know the value of and subtract that from 71. We get 70. So 2 boxes sum to 90. And if we have these cells summing to 70, then these 3 cells must sum to 20. So a 3-cell 20 sum has 4 possible combinations. And we can limit that down to 1 possible combination because of these 3 values that are already in the column. If we take out 2 of these values by eliminating a 7-8, 7-9, or an 8-9, then we can limit these possible combinations down to 1. So, well, let's start with the top one. So we can't have an 8-9 here. So 3-8-9 is not possible. We can't have a 7-9 here. So the 4-7-9 is not possible. And we cannot have a 7-8 here. So the 5-7-8 is not possible. So we must be a 5-6-9. With this 9, it forces the 9 here. So this must be a 5-6 pair. And that leaves only 2 cells remaining in the column, which must be a 3-4 pair. All right, well, now we've laid the groundwork where we can start to look at these quite interesting shapes that this puzzle has. Let's start here in the right stack and look at this 29, the 7-cell 29 cage. It's missing a 7 and a 9. And that's going to help us quite a bit. So let's start here and ask the question, if this cage does not have a 7, in box 6, where can we place a 7? Well, there's only one location, and that is in row 6, column 9. Additionally, these 9s in columns 7 and 8 eliminate the potential for a 9 in those 2 columns and force a 9 into column 9 of box 9. Just to say 9 another time. Now, this long, interesting shape also helps us place a 5-6 in box 9. Because this 5-6 is here, and we know this cage has a 5 and a 6, the 5 and the 6 cannot be in these 4 cells of the 29 cage. They must be in these 3 cells, along with other candidates, we're sure, but we don't know yet what that will be. So with the 5-6 here, 7 and 9, we've learned a little bit about box 9, and we can continue by looking at this 23 cage, 4-cell 23 cage, has a 7 and a 9. So if we remove any combination that does not have a 9, and then any combination that does not have a 7, we end up with 3 possible combinations. This 7 is the only candidate that's not in box 9, which contains a 5 and a 6. Combination has a 7, but cannot contain a 5 or a 6. So that eliminates 2 of the possible combinations, and then we know that 3 and a 4 must join the 9 for this 3, 4, 7, 9 combination of the 4-cell 23 cage. All right. Now, with a 3 and a 4 here, we can ask the question, where does a 3 and a 4 go in box 6? And these cells are out, so the 3 and the 4 must go here in rows 5 and 6 of column 8. And then the only remaining cells must participate with this 1, 2 in a 1, 2, 8 triple. But of course the 8 can be removed here. So what do we do up here in box 3? How do we complete things? Well, We're not done down here in box 9 yet. What do we have to join the 5-6 pair? Well, we don't know if this is a 1 or a 2, so we have to put a 1 and a 2 here. And I think that's as far as we can go down here in box 9. Box 6 is also sorted, but we don't know if this is a 1 or a 2, and we don't know if this is a 1 or a 2, so all of these cells have a 1 or a 2 somewhere in them. We have the 5, 6, 3, 4, 9. We don't have the 7, 8. So joining the 1, 2 in column 8 of box 3 is a 7, 8 pair. And we've got the 5, 6 down here and the 5, 6 here in columns 7 and 8. So in box 3, column 9, we need a 5, 6 to join the 1, 2. And I believe that wraps up the right stack as far as we can complete it now. Let's move to box 2, where we have a 1 box, 2 Innie Rule of 45 possibility, where the sum of the 2 cages and the 1 value is 30. 45 minus 30 is 15, so these 2 cells must sum to 15. So let's plug the 2-cell 15 sum into the calculator again. Just a reminder that the 2 possible combinations are 6, 9, and 7, 8. These 2 cells here, this 9, 7 pair, which point up at one of the members of the 15 sum, are going to not eliminate either of the possible combinations, but order them. So these can only be 6, 8, which makes these 7, 9. Now if we look at the partners in this 2-cell 12 cage of 7 and 9, we would need a 3 and a 5. Where do we put a 6 in box 5? Clearly this one is 3, 5. This is a 9. And we see finally the first time this very unique and interesting shape, this 9-cell 45 cage, rears its head and helps us out in the middle band and in box 5, where because of the 6s that exist already in this shape, we know that the 6s cannot be in row 5 of box 5, which means that the 6s must be in this 2-cell 9 cage or in this 2-cell 11 cage. So let's investigate first the 2-cell 9 cage. If we were to put a 6 here, we would need its 2-cell 9 cage partner of 3. Well, the 3 would eliminate the 3 in this 3, 5 and would eliminate the 6 in this 5, 6 and would give us 2 5s in one row, which we know by Sudoku is not possible. So the 6 cannot go into the 9 cage. It must go into this 11 cage. And if we have a 6, we must also have a 5, which is the 2-cell 11 cage 6 partner. Now, with the 5 here in box 5, we can sort out this 2-cell 12 cage combination. So this cannot be a 5, and with a 3, the partner must be 9, so we can eliminate the 7, which also helps us sort out this 15 sum, which we now know is the 6, 9 combination. We can eliminate the 8. Let's look at the 9s in the middle and top bands, as well as how the middle band and left stack large shapes can help us in our solve path. To me, this seems almost like a handset puzzle, or at least specifically selected from computer-generated puzzles for this specific logic chain. This type of logic is one of the main reasons why I love to play Killer Sudoku. So if we look in the middle band, specifically at the 9s, this 9 prevents a 9 from existing row 4 of box 4. It also prevents a 9 from being in any of the cells of this 9-cell 45 cage. And then this 9 prevents a 9 from being in any of the box 4 row 6 cells. So a 9 must exist in these two cells, the first two cells of row 5. Now, these both exist in this 7-cell 40 cage. This is going to help us as we jump up into the top band. So if we continue to look at 9s, 9s cannot exist in row 3 of box 1. 9s cannot exist in row 2 of box 1. They must exist in row 1 of box 1. Now, a 3-cell 14 cage that contains a 6 cannot contain a 9. If we added a 9 to that, then we'd already have a sum of 15, and we'd still need to put another digit in. So that's not possible. So the 9 cannot exist in row 1, column 3. And because of the 9s that are here in this 7-cell 40 cage, the 9 cannot exist in row 1, column 2. So we know that the 9 must be in row 1, column 1. Now, if there's a 9 here, we can eliminate this 9 in column 1 of the 40 cage, and we know that the row 5, column 2 is the location for the 9 in this 7-cell 40 cage. Now, we can keep using these amazingly large shapes for some really impressive logic in this puzzle. So, a question. Where in row 5 can we place another 5, 6? We know there must be at least one other cell that contains a 5 or a 6. They could be really anywhere in any combination, but if we look at the way this 9-cell 45 cage is set up, and that there is already a 5 and a 6 in that cage, it really limits down where any 5 or 6 can exist. Can't be in these two cells. They can't be in any of these cells that are already in the 9-cell 45 cage. So in reality, there's only one possible location for a 5 or a 6, and that is in row 5, column 1. So there's a 5, 6 here. Again, let's use these large cages to help to figure out which of the values exists in this cell, 5 or 6. So if we look at this 6, it is in column 3, and it looks up into box 1, and it eliminates a 6 in these 3 cells, the top 3 cells of column 3. So in box 1, the 6 can only exist, well, we can use this 6 as well. This 6 eliminates a possibility of a 6 in the first row of box 1. The 6 can only exist in these 4 cells. It can either be in this 4-cell 18 cage, or it can be in this 7-cell 40 cage. And either way, if it's here in column 1, it's pointing at this cell. And if it's here in column 2, it's in the 40 cage, which eliminates a 6 as well. So this cannot be a 6. This must be a 5, which helps us resolve this 5, 6 pair to a 5, 6. Now, the logic goes both ways. We just showed that this cell could not be a 6 because a 6 must exist in one of these 4 cells. But a 5 exists here, and what that means is that a 5 cannot exist in these 2 cells of box 1, nor can a 5 exist in these 3 cells of box 1. So a 5 must exist in the column 3 cells of box 1. So first off, let's look at the possible combinations of this 3-cell 14 cage. There are only 2 possible combinations that have a 6. 1, 6, 7 and 3, 5, 6. It's also possible that there could be a 5 in this 12 cage. And the three possible combinations of a 2-cell 12 cage are 3, 9, 4, 8, and 5, 7. So let's test out if we had a 5 in this 12 cage. Well, that would mean the partner of the 5 in a 2-cell 12 cage would be a 7. Now, if there's a 5 here, and we look at the possible combinations, we can't place a 5 in this because of the 3, 5, so that is out. And we can't place a 7, so that is out. So, we know that we cannot place a 5 in the 12 cage. The 5 must exist in this 3-cell 14 cage, making this a 3-5 combination, and that helps us set the only possible combination for the 2-cell 12 cage. It cannot be 3, 9, it cannot be 5, 7, it must be 4, 8. Now this column 3, 3 is key to placing a 3 in box 4 and is helped by the middle band 45 cage. This middle band 9-cell 45 cage must contain a 3. Now, there are no 3s in the cells that exist in box 6. This 3 prevents a 3 from being in the box 5 cells of the 45 cage. And these 3s prevent a 3 from being in these cells of the 45 cage, leaving only row 6, column 2 to contain a 3. Now, this 3 helps us narrow down the number of combinations of the left stack 40 cage. All the cells of the 40 cage in box 4 are seen by this 3, as well as all the cells in column 2 of the 40 cage, preventing a 3 from being in the 40 cage. That eliminates the 2-3 version and leaves us with the 1-4 version paired with 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This 3 looking right also helps us resolve the box 6 3-4 pair to a 3-4. Now, where can we place an 8 in row 6? All of these cells are known. There is not an 8 in column 7 of row 6, so the 8 must go in one of these two cells. However, the 8s here in column 3 prevent the 8 in row 6, column 3, and force it into row 6, column 1. Then this 8 resolves this column 3 4-8 pair to 8-4. Where can we place a 2 in box 1? The box 1 column 3 cells already are set with values, and there cannot be a 2 in the 7-cell 40 cage. That forces a 2 into rows 2 and 3 of column 1. What about 2s in box 4? These 2s in column 1 prevent a 4 from being in row 4, column 1. Again, we cannot have a 2 in the 7-cell 40 cage. That forces 2s into the cells of the 45 cage that are in column 3 of box 4. With the position of the 2s fixed in the 9-cell 45 cage, we know that there cannot be 2s in the cells of the 45 cage that are in row 5 of box 5. Forcing the 2 into the 2-cell 9 cage with its partner 7. This 2-7 pair is resolved to 2-7 by the 7 looking up in column 4. From here on out until the end of the puzzle, there is not much in the way of Killer Sudoku logic, but mostly basic Sudoku in a killer puzzle. I will speed up the remainder of this full solve video to save some time, but you should still be able to follow my solve path. If you would like to see a normal speed version of the end of this solve video, I will post it as a separate supplemental video. Put a link in the description notes below and a pop-up link card in the upper right-hand corner of this video now. I will start the fast speed now. Thanks for sticking around to the end of my solve video for Daily Killer Sudoku Puzzle 128. I would love it if you would leave a constructive or positive comment down below. Liking and subscribing would also help me out and get you more killer fun in your feed. Until next time, don't stop solving.